Oxford is a worldwide renowned city for many reasons and has been home to both royalty and scholars. Oxford University, whose buildings span the entire city, is the oldest university in the English-speaking world. Its architecture, which due to the tall towers and churches, has earned it the nickname first coined by the poet Matthew Arnold, the City of Dreaming Spires. Buildings in Oxford demonstrate examples of every English architectural period since the arrival of the Saxons, including for example the Radcliffe Camera. This video is an attempt to try and establish whether Oxford has a sense of place and how people respond to the built environment around them. This idea was first introduced by Gordon Cullen in his book Concise Townscape. My route through Oxford starts on the intersection of Magdalen Street and Broad Street. From here it follows Broad Street all the way down until the second crossroads where I turn right down Cat Street, past the Bodleian Library and the Radcliffe Camera on my right, until I come to the end of the street, which opens up onto the High Street. This is where my route ends. Starting on Broad Street, you are immediately met by Boswell's bookshop. The scale of the building is very noticeable as it leads the eye down Broad Street to the extent of it. The facade of the building suggests another space to the left. Looking down Broad Street, you gain a sense of here-ness and there-ness, mainly due to the barriers separating one area from the next and pedestrians from vehicles. The vast area of open space is immediately noticeable, as well as the grand buildings at the far end of the street, which entice you to walk further and see what else you may find. The public space on the right-hand side of the street is dictated mainly by many shops with differing frontages. This directly contrasts the private space, which can be found on the left-hand side of the street. Here the typical Oxford architecture of large, detailed, limestone buildings, along with the large iron gates, creates a sense of mystery for any passer-by, as they wonder what may be inside. Looking further down Broad Street, the space opens up even more to allow for vehicular access, whilst the buildings on both sides of the street become private space. Looking at the Sheldonian Theatre, we are greeted by another very clear sign of public and private space, through the fence surrounding it. The fact that the building is set back from the road behind the fence creates a sense of projection and importance to passers-by. As I turn right down Cat Street, the fence around the Sheldonian Theatre and other significant buildings continues. Cat Street, inhabited by many Oxford University students, seems to be a much more private space. The bridge over the street to the left of Cat Street demonstrates the grand architecture of Oxford, and again draws upon the imagination of the passer-by as to what may be beyond it. Halfway down Cat Street, our attention is drawn towards an archway on the right, leading to the Bodleian Square and Library. This again creates a sense of here-ness and there-ness through the transition from tarmacked roads to paved areas. This transition in materials leads you through the archway into the square with its magnificent detail and tall spires. This allows for a sense of importance. Moving on further down Cat Street into Radcliffe Square, we can see the separation of public and private space through the grass and fence surrounding the Radcliffe Camera. The cobbled and tarmacked areas allow people to be drawn around the Radcliffe Camera to enjoy the full building. As you pass the camera, St Mary's Church, with its tall tower and spire, dominates the area to the rear of the High Street with its magnificent architecture. A small lane to the left of the church leads out onto the High Street, where the impressive sight of the Old Bank Hotel instantly confronts you. As you look from the left to the right of the High Street, the space is all very public, containing shops and restaurants and much more traffic. What is not lost here, however, is the incredible detail of Oxford's buildings and the sense of history that they emit. In conclusion, it is clear that Oxford's architecture and historical nature have come together in giving Oxford a sense of place. The differing purposes of the streets from public to private space allow for a vibrant and intriguing place. Through the creation of this Townscape video, I have learnt how Gordon Cullen's principles in his book on Concise Townscape have very much been employed throughout the city of Oxford in creating a sense of place that interacts with its people.